Máme tady poslední video s americkou dozorkyní, protože po posledním natáčení nám zbylo ještě trošku času, otevřel jsem komentáře pod všemi videemi, které jsem na tohle téma vydal a přečetl otázky, které v těch komentářích byly nejvíc lajkované. No a právě z toho vzniklo tohle video. Takže se pohodlně usaďte, zapněte si titulky a užijte si dnešní video. Jsem rád, že se díváte. Third episode and the final one. We're gonna use this time that we have to answer some of your questions that you write under all those videos. Because there's so many hundreds and hundreds of comments. I'm gonna find some questions. How is possible that you can so openly talk about all that?
How is it possible? Okay, well, I mean, these are experiences. These are things I've seen every day throughout my 8 years of working in corrections. And I mean, granted, like when I would see something like traumatic, like the killings, the rape, or the sex that would happen in prison, stuff like that, they offer the officers like counseling just to talk about it and kind of get it off the chest and kind of deal with what they saw. I would take advantage of that. I would always go and just make sure that my mindset was always, you know, normal.
I'm more like curious about like how you can talk about this. Isn't it like confidential information or something like this?
Not really.
Not
I mean,
really.
You can go onto YouTube and internet
find
and
everything.
you can hear.
That's true, because a lot of the stuff you told me, I saw in like a documentary movies and stuff, but some of them I didn't really understand well, and it didn't really make sense. But now since you explained me a lot of stuff, then I start to understand it more. Okay.
Yeah. I think it would start getting confidential if I was actually reading files of inmates. That would start getting more confidential. But me talking about experiences and things that happen in the prisons, that's not confidential. I mean, you can find it anywhere.
Yeah, anywhere. Okay. Another question. How do you deal with people who have some health conditions? For example, they have AIDS, or they have hepatitis, or they have, or they are just on a wheelchair and they did some crime.
The ones with AIDS, they're on medication, so they'll be going to the doctors and getting checked out, and they segregate them and put them in the medical side, especially like the ones in wheelchairs. They can't be in cells and with the general population.
They would like beat them or something, right? Take advantage of it, no?
It's not that they will beat them, it's just that they need additional care. And so to put them in the general population with the rest of the prison, it's just not, it's not logically, it's not logical to do that. So you separate them and put them into the medical side where they can get the care that they need. Especially if they're like in a wheelchair, or if they have AIDS, you don't want that spreading throughout the prison and stuff like that. And the wheelchair, I mean, obviously they're going to need some care because they can't get up and walk. So they get additional care and they're put in the medical side.
Why did you decide to quit a job? Some people were asking about it because they probably knew that it was, you know, it's hard, it's not a nice environment to be around, but I don't know how much they pay or whatever, but what was your motivation to quit it?
Just my life in general. Like, it took up so much of my time and my life that I was missing out on family get-togethers, like my cousin's weddings and my kids' birthdays and stuff like that I was missing out on, and just spending time with my family in general. It caused a lot of issues within my relationship at the time, and so it made me decide that, you know what, a change is needed, and I got out. I resigned.
What is like the level of positions in a jail? So you mentioned the words like lieutenant, you were correctional officer,
a sergeant,
as a guard, you know. So can you name me, like, what is the position where you start, where everyone in the jail starts, and can you tell me where you can get? Okay,
so when you start your probation, your correctional officer 1, then you go to 2, and 3, and then after that you make sergeant, and then after that you can do staff sergeant, and then you can do lieutenant, and then from lieutenant I think you can go to captain. So
lieutenant is like responsible for like the dorms?
Yeah, lieutenant is more of a manager in a regular business world. it'd be more of a manager. Sergeant is more of a supervisor, and then you've got your regular correctional officers who are basically your clerks.
Guards. Okay.
Yeah, your guards.
Those two, the lieutenant and the captain, do they get in touch with the inmates, or they are just in the office and they are not really in daily contact with those inmates?
The captain doesn't. The captain is there to basically just oversee that their staff is doing the job
what they're supposed
to do.
Okay.
So he generally will not, or she will generally not even get involved with the inmates at all. They generally get involved with, it happens a lot, especially in the jails, and not prisons, I'm talking about in the jails, when they have to release the people that they're holding, or book somebody in. If the paperwork is done incorrectly, and they don't turn in a certain piece of paper, or they write it incorrectly, it goes under review, and you go under an internal investigation as a correction officer. Then you have to go up against board members and the captain and explain why you made the error.
That's what happened to me, probably. They fuck up, so they were like trying to hide it out somehow.
Well, it's not the funnest thing to be under investigation.
Well,
it happened to me a couple times where I had to defend my job.
Some of your actions?
Yeah.
Okay.
And it wasn't because I did anything wrong. So I had an officer who was getting off shift, and I had just started, and he handed me his actual jacket. They call them jackets. It's the folder that we build to put your profile together and everything. He handed it to me and said, "Can you turn that in for me? I'm off." I said, "Yeah, no problem," because I handed it to the clerk to put in everything. They put my name on it, and I was being under investigation. So I had to go and defend and say, "Hey, look, I had nothing to do with this jacket. I just turned it in. So why are you here?" Because I turned it in? I don't know. That's a good question. So toward my last couple years, it was kind of like, why do I have to defend my job?
Yeah.
Why do I have to be in here again? And it was like, I've done this for years. I know what paperwork needs to be done. I know where I need to sign. I know what needs to be filled out. So why am I here? So it just became like a repetitive kind of thing. And
what is your entire opinion on all of that?
Oh my God, on all of it?
In Czech, it's normal to have sex with a girl who is 15, okay? It's very common that a girl who is 15, guy is 16, and they have sex. Normal thing, nobody cares. Here, if you have a sex as 18 years old or something with a girl who is 17, it's considered being a rape, right?
Yeah.
Like, when I see somebody 16 or 17, I don't see their age difference. Same, right. I don't see age difference between 18 and 17. You're still a kid. Right. You know, until you are, let's say, 21 or even 25, you're still a kid. I'm a kid in some certain ways all the time, right. You know? So age is not really like that crazy. And I don't really understand how somebody can be sent to the jail for a rape if that guy is 18 and his girlfriend is 17 and she, for example, gets mad at him and reports him or something. Right. What's your opinion on all that?
I think we have a lot of laws that are just ridiculous, to be honest with you. It's just kind of like somebody sat in a state office and said, you know what, today I'm going to make a law about this, and you know what, it just makes sense to me. I don't know, but we have a lot of laws where it's just it doesn't make sense. So it's like these people are in prison for so many stupid reasons, you know what I mean? And it is what it is, you know. This is where we live, and these are the laws that we have. So for me, it was just like
job.
It was a job. It really was. But I always wanted to be in law enforcement. So for me to get in there, and I liked it because of the challenge. I mean, it was a challenge every day to go to work. Every day I was like, okay, my mindset, I could be killed today. All right, let's go to work, right? And but I knew, so I never wanted to be out in the street. I never wanted to be a street cop, because the difference between working in the prison is I know that these guys are in there for some criminal reason, okay? I know that I could be killed. But when you're out in the street and you pull over a car, you don't know what that person has. Exactly. You don't know what their mindset is. You don't know if they're on drugs. You don't know if they're drunk. you don't know if this person's happy, you don't know if this person's mental state, you don't know anything. You're walking up blindly.
Strange.
And so that's why I never wanted to work on the streets, because to me that's more dangerous than working in the prison.
Over there you know what to expect.
Yeah.
So your opinion is that there is a lot of ridiculous
It is.
laws.
It's a lot of ridiculous laws,
Yeah.
and people are in there for ridiculous reasons. And
People were asking another question, and that's related to the story you told me before about that the female officers, when she actually turned on the another officer. I probably interrupt you or something, and you didn't finish the story how it ended up. And some people were asking like if they like managed to like hurt the officer, or if he need to change the prison or something.
No, they started a riot. So basically, the female officer got in an argument with the male officer, and she was already like, I guess, bringing in stuff to the inmates. So she was like helping the inmates, and she was under investigation with our CDC department, our California Department of Corrections. She was under investigations, and for bringing in things to the inmates. So when she got in an argument with the male officer, she went back to her dorm mad, and she told some of the inmates that he had raped a 15-year-old girl. And 15, yeah. So they started a riot, and they had planned to kill that officer. The riot started, so that whole dorm, that whole A side, all 4 dorms, they went crazy. The guys tried to get after the officer. When he walked into the dorm, they tried to get him.
Like kill him?
Yeah, they tried to
like
kill him.
the shanks and stuff?
They tried to kill him, but...
Is it because they hate the pedophiles so much?
Yeah, pedophiles in prison are...
That.
They're seen like the worst people. Okay, they're one of the worst people that are seen in prison. The next worst people in prison. So that female officer ended up getting arrested, and now she's in prison. Okay? If you work in law enforcement and then you become a prisoner,
that's really bad.
That's really bad.
That's worse than being a pedophile in prison.
Almost worse. If they find out that you used to be an officer, oh, they're going to want to kill you.
Really?
Yes. Yes, they don't like the law. They don't like law. They don't like the law at all.
Yeah, I hear that before. Yeah.
Like since I worked in law enforcement and I did a crime and I go to prison and they found out that I used to be an officer, oh, they're going to want to beat me up every day and kill me. They're going to make my life so hard, because when I worked in the prisons as an officer, I didn't make their lives any easy. So of course they hate you, you know what I mean? They hate you, and then they hate the people that put them in there. So yeah, they don't like law enforcement. The male officer, he knew what was going on because they had already started the riots. So we did a lockdown of the whole prison. He was safe, nothing happened to him. They did a lockdown. We had SWAT come in, throw in the pepper bombs in each dorm to calm everybody down, and everybody was mad. And so we had a whole lockdown of the whole entire, not just the A side, we had a lockdown of the whole entire prison. And everybody got pepper sprayed. So then after everything calmed down, the smoke died down, we took everybody out one by one of each dorm, moved them out to the yard. We patted down everybody, checked for contraband, went through their dorms, tossed through their dorms, taking all of their contraband, everything. We took everything from the change that they have, because sometimes they have, you know, pennies, dimes, nickels, it's change.
You cannot have that?
No, they're not supposed to, but they do have it, because they have like vending machines that you can, that's why they have change. So we took their change, we took their shanks, we took their tattoo machines, we took their Walkmans, we took everything. And then they'd go back, we'd move them back into their dorm, lock them up, and they would have to clean up their whole dorms because we just shredded through everything.
So basically you told me that he was fine and she ended up being a prisoner.
Yeah.
That is crazy.
Yeah, they arrested her.
Okay, another like very frequently asked question was, if you work in the prison, let's say 10 years, and then you quit, do you have some certain like amount of money for the rest of your life getting paid by the government?
No.
Really?
No.
Because in Czech, like either you work police, military, or whatever, and after a certain amount of years you quit, and the government pays you a salary every month. It doesn't exist here?
No. Unless you retire with them, and it's I think between 20 and 25 years.
I don't think that that's that long in Czech.
Yeah, 20, 25 years. If you retire, you get your pension, and then they'll pay you.
So only the retirement is the only way
Yeah.
of finances you can get. So if you quit after 15 years, you get nothing.
You get nothing.
Wow.
You might get like a severance pay for the years that you spent there, and the severance pay is not going to be, I would say, after taxes, you're probably looking.
Yeah, but
at,
is it something you're getting monthly?
This is not monthly. It's severance pay is they pay you a lump sum that they take taxes out of, and it's just basically like a thank you for your time that you put in.
So it's like it's monthly, some certain money.
It's a lump sum that
What's
they
lump
pay
sum?
you. Lump sum is
A lot of dumb questions.
It's a no. It's a bulk payment that they pay you one time, and they say here a lump sum, and they take taxes out of it, and they say thank you for your service.
Yeah,
thank you for your service,
so
and that's it.
So they give you a gift, and they even tax it. That's
Yeah,
great.
Yeah, right. Well, everything's taxed here, everything.
You said that there's family members that they are sending the money to the prisoners and they can buy some certain stuff or clothes or something. What if the family is not gonna send them anything and they are not allowed to work or they don't work? So they will be there 20 years in the same clothes with the same toothbrush?
No, the state will provide them with toothbrush. They'll provide them with these things maybe once every 3 months or so, but they only get one.
So they have one toothbrush every 3 months.
Right.
That's nice.
They only get one. About every 3 months, they get one of the things that they need. If their clothes become too holey, then the state will provide them with a fresh.
Hollies.
Yeah, because
From the shanks.
well, no, not from shanks. From wear and tear. Unless, well, I mean, I don't think they'll wear the same clothes that they got stabbed in, but. Yeah, the state will provide them with some necessary, things to survive. But yeah, if your family is not providing you with money and stuff like that, and of course you can do favors for the inmates. Which, if you do favors, you can get things that you need also. So a lot of them will do that. Like they'll do trades where I'll get you, your weed or your papers for your weed, and you give me, toilet paper and deodorant, right? So it's a trade.
You say that before you go to apply for a job as a correctional officer, they go several checking on you. But one of the things you say that they are searching if you don't own something in different country. Why is that?
Any government or state job that you work for, they don't, for whatever reason, the government doesn't want you to own property or in other countries because they think that maybe something suspicious might be going on. Once they do the background check, I think how it works is that if they find out nothing suspicious is going on with that property, like if it's a rental property or if it's a vacation home or something like that, they find out, nothing ever happened here. They don't have a lot of traffic coming in and out of the home. People, they'll ask for detailed information on the property, and they find out nothing suspicious is going on. They'll allow it, but they don't generally like that because they think that you can be harboring other things there.
Yes, I was just thinking about it.
Right.
For example, I was just thinking you would be owning some properties in Mexico in an area where they grow a lot of, let's say, poppy seeds or something like this for a heroin production and stuff like that, right? And then you are in daily contact with the guys who are there for selling drugs or drug smuggling or something.
So that's why they don't like it when you have other properties in other countries, just because they don't want you harboring people that shouldn't be. And then two, they don't want you to start doing your own, meth labs or, drug cartels, and then you're working in the prisons, right? Or working in law enforcement or the government, and then they get a bad rep because you are actually representing them too.
So this is actually for any government position?
Yeah, it pretty much falls around all of it. You're representing, basically the government, the state, and they just don't want to deal with that type of, public, when it becomes public or something like that. They're like, oh, the government, you know how the media will do it. The government
does it.
Yeah, they're selling meth, and they got people that they hired that are drug cartels, and you know what I mean? And then everybody's like, I knew it.
Well, I'm planning to do a video with immigration officer, so I'm gonna ask him the same thing, because that's also government agency.
Right.
So it's gonna be very interesting. All right, thank you. That's all questions.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for coming, doing all that with me, because I think that people learn a lot from that, and now they know that they should stay out of the problems and out of the jail, because it's not a good place to be.
No. At least here.
At least here. And it's also probably not a great place to work at.
Well, if you have no life. Like if you have no life.
No life, no family.
No life, yeah.
Go work to jail.
I mean,
otherwise.
It has its rewards. I have to say, it has its rewards, and you do make pretty good money because you do a lot of overtime.
Yeah.
So my salary, I made well over 100,000 a year.
That's a lot of money, even in LA. That's a lot of money. Okay, like because you mentioned that. One last thing. What kind of benefits you can get besides the salary? Do you also get like a health insurance or something like this from your job?
So I get medical, dental, and vision.
Okay, that's great.
So I'm covered. My whole family's covered with.
So
everything.
the entire family.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, yeah. So I guess the job has a benefits, but since you have a family working 17 hours a day, it's not the best, because all of a sudden you wake up and your kids are 20 years old, and you're like, oh wow.
When did you grow up?
When did you grow up? Like yesterday you were 2 years old, and today you're 20.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you.